Welcome to Fortt Knox, live here at the NASDAQ market site in New York's Times Square. I am Jon Fortt of CNBC, and here today with me, I've got Ron Shaich, founder of Panera. So thank you. This is a special Fortt Knox episode. Not only are we live, but this is also going to be part of the weekly podcast, this episode, in a couple weeks.
Great.
We'll have that coming out. Next up on the Fortt Knox podcast is Adena Friedman, the CEO of NASDAQ, who joined us just a few days ago. So, Ron, there's so much I want to cover with you, but I want to start off as a Panera customer. Yeah. The Panera app is really something special because so many places I go, I'm frustrated. You know, you go to the counter, they might not have Apple Pay. You certainly can't order in store from the app. But at Panera, when I go with my wife and kids, we can sit down at our table, order on the app, put in our table number, pay on the phone, and have our food brought to us. This is not something that happened overnight. How did you guys decide?
Half a decade we've been working on it. And here's the point. Technology doesn't matter in its own right. Technology only matters if it makes a difference in the guest experience. So we started with the guest experience and backward engineered technology to support that, not the other way around. You know, I can remember I've been working on it I and Blaine Hurst, our CEO, among others, have been working on it for half a decade or more. And I can remember when we first started, and the prevailing thought in the food industry is everybody needed a mobile app. And I can remember doing some research. I was in Houston. I placed a mobile order. I walked into the restaurant. I was asked to stand in the same line I would have stood in. And I got to the front, and the manager looked at me and said, "Oh, you're here. I'll make your food now." And I thought to myself, why in the world did I place a mobile app? How did it help me? What it was some CEO said, we need a mobile app, an IT department that supported it, and it didn't come from solving a customer problem. And the key to why digital has been so powerful for Panera is, I think you know, we're now 30% digital.
30%. Last number I saw was in the 20s, so I was going to ask you for an update.
30% digital.
And that means what exactly? That means either in-store or ordering for delivery or whatever. They're either starting on the web or on the phone? Okay.
Coming in digitally. We'll do an excess of $1.25 billion digitally this year. And it's because digital helps the guest. If it doesn't help the guest, it doesn't work. And we took the longer path of transformation. We didn't deal with a single app. Others dealt with simply a payment app. We dealt with an integrated system that provided a solution to a better way to interact with Panera when you came to visit. So if you were placing an order to go, our app enabled you to place that order, have the food made simultaneously with your trip to the store, walk in and have your food pre-checked and ready to go as you wanted it. We call it rapid pickup. Alternatively, we dealt with in-store. You described it at the lead-in to the show, where you can literally walk in, sit at a table, use the app, place an order. We decided we would deliver the food to you. It would be brought to you, and your food was present. And if you want to eat in, you can walk in, hit a kiosk. The kiosk knows your favorites. You hit a couple of buttons, you sit down, and you have your food delivered to you.
Now, does that count as digital if somebody goes to a screen in the store and orders that way?
Yes, it counts as digital is anything that doesn't go in over a register or over a phone, anything that comes in electronically.
A lot of people who know you might not know you're not the CEO anymore. You referenced that a few moments ago. As of the beginning of the year, you stepped into the chairman role. Also, Panera is now under JAB. Right. It's part of a private holding now. What's the difference in Panera now versus Panera before?
Well, let me step back and share with you why I made the decision to sell it to JAB. And what I think is going on in the world. Panera has been the most successful restaurant stock of the last 2 decades, of the last 20 years. It's delivered returns to its shareholders through July, when we ended our run as a public company, north of 25%, better than Starbucks, better than McDonald's.
25% a year.
25% annual returns.
Over how many years?
Over 2 decades. We beat the S&P 500 during that period of time.
Sounds like you beat it to a pulp.
40-fold. Right? And in fact, somebody told me we actually beat Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. So we had a great run. And the reality is I ran that public company for 26 years. I ran the company for 36. I founded it. Mm-hmm. And the key to our success is essentially every 5 to 6 years, we would make a long-term transformation. started when we really started as a cookie store and a croissant shop. We became a French bakery cafe. From there, we made the decision to evolve and grow.
St. Louis Bread Company?
Well, we'll get there. 93, second transformation was to recognize that we needed to diversify and bought a 19-store chain in St. Louis called St. Louis Bread Company. Third one was the recognition that people wanted more than a lot of food for a cheap price, and that there was an opportunity, a niche at that point, for what has now become fast casual. People wanted real food served in environments that engaged them by people that cared. That led us to redefine St. Louis Bread Company, became Panera. It was a very different thing. That was the first forerunner of what's now fast casual, which is a $40 billion segment.
Yeah.
And then in '99, again, another transformation. It was very clear to me Panera had the potential